Hello and welcome to Learn SAP BTP Build Work Zone for Fiori LaunchPad in SAP BTP course. In this course, you will learn to set up SAP BTP Build Work Zone from scratch. First, we will deploy some sample Hello World application to SAP Build Work Zone to get started and to understand different components involved with SAP Build Work Zone in SAP BTP. Then we will go into apps, which involves API connections, which uses the destination setting of SAP BTP. Now, in BAS, we will check how to use this destination, which we can configure and bind with run configuration. And also we will test how you can do local mock setting. Now, this will be the development around SAP UI5 or Fiori application. Then we will do some local testing, and after that we will deploy the application to your SAP Build Work Zone, which will be using the SAP BTP destination settings. After that, we will create custom role collection and restrict app access to BTP user and see how one can achieve that in a step-by-step manner. Finally, we will set up the continuous integration and delivery pipeline using SAP BAS, GitLab, CI/CD services, and SAP Build Work Zone. So join this course to learn SAP BTP Build Work Zone in a step-by-step and hands-on manner from basic to advanced. My name is Ajay Naik and I will see you in this course. Hello and welcome. In this course, we are going to work with SAP Build Zone. Now previously, who might be familiar with SAP Fiori LaunchPad will tell you that this is somewhat like Fiori LaunchPad, which is named as SAP Build Work Zone in SAP BTP. Now, this course is going to be mostly revolving around your SAP Fiori in your SAP BTP environment. And before we actually start, I would like to also go through some of the prerequisites which will be required within this course. Now, one need to be familiar with SAP BTP. You don't have to have a lot of experience with SAP BTP, just a basic understanding of how to set up, what are destination, what are user, what are roles. Even if you have a basic idea about how the structure of SAP BTP is, like you have first your organization inside your BTP, then you have your space, and within the space you basically will be putting your application. So very basic idea of or background of SAP BTP is required. If you want to know more about SAP BTP, our SAP BTP basic, intermediate and advanced course is highly recommended. And there should be some background and understanding of what is SAP BAS and how to work with SAP BAS. We have already covered SAP BAS extensively in SAP BAS Professional Development course, which you can also go through and see. Now, there should be some basic background of SAP UI5 also required. We will not be going into details. What are the files of SAP UI5 application, how to work with SAP UI5 application, because most of the part of this course are going to revolve around configuration within your SAP BTP and SAP BAS, and there will be less of SAP UI5 development, which we will do. There will be instances where we will still be working with files which are associated with SAP UI5 app. So a basic understanding of SAP UI5 application development is required. And if you want to learn more about SAP UI5 application development, then our SAP UI5 2019 professional development course is highly recommended. Okay, so these are prerequisite for this course, and let's try to understand what exactly will be the objective within this course. Now, when we talk about SAP Build Zone, and most accurate will be the SAP Fiori LaunchPad in BTP. Now, the official name is SAP Build Zone in SAP BTP, but when you are coming from a background of Fiori, you have seen Fiori application and Fiori LaunchPad, and what we are going to do or work with will be similar to Fiori LaunchPad if you have worked with it. So I have added here the Fiori LaunchPad, but the official name still is SAP Build Zone, which is part of SAP BTP. Now you might be having this question is, what is this SAP Build Zone? Now, to put this into simple words, the SAP Build Zone is a service which is provided in SAP BTP In SAP Build Zone, you can create a site, and this site is somewhat similar to your Fiori LaunchPad. Now, people who don't know what is a Fiori LaunchPad, it is kind of a homepage or a dashboard where you have multiple SAP UI5 or your Fiori application, and using this dashboard, you can get a common place to access all those applications. So that is what is called as a site in SAP BTP, and our current course will be revolving around the site. Now, the objective within this course is to first start this Launchpad. We will create an instance of our SAP Build Work Zone service, which will allow us to create a site. The site will be initially empty. There will be no application present. And what we will do is we will create an application within your SAP BAS, and this will be a SAP UI5 application, and we will deploy this application to SAP Work Zone. Now, once we deploy the application, we will be able to see this application within this Launchpad or the site, and this will not be automatically happening. You have to do certain setting or setup or customization to be able to do that. Now, once we are able to put a blank application just to set up the Build Work Zone, then we'll see how you can create a Northwind. And this time we are going to use Northwind version 4 of OData. We'll create a destination out of this Northwind, and we will try to connect our SAP UI5 application in SAP BAS to this destination. And this is going to be a version 4 of OData. And we are going to see how to do a local development, how we can mock in a local environment without using this destination and test our application. So that will be the first thing which we will see. So mocking with the local data. So this is something which will be essential if you want to mock a service without actually reaching for the data from that particular service. And this data is basically hard-coded data in the JSON file, which will be exactly like the data you will receive from the service, so that your development is faster. So that is the first thing which we will do. And we will see how to do that within your SAP BAS. So in this phase, we will be working mostly with the SAP BAS and UI5 application. Then the second scenario will be where we will actually connect within the local setting to the actual service data. So we'll be actually within the SAP BAS going through the destination. We will reach the Northwind and try to do development within the actual data and test the application. And in the third scenario, we will deploy the application to your SAP BTP site, which is in the Build Work Zone. And here our SAP UI5 application will be utilizing the destination which is set in SAP BTP, and using this destination reach the version 4 OData of Northwind. So this is going to be the first part of the course, where we are going to do all this setup and work with SAP BAS, SAP BTP destination, and your Build Work Zone. Then the second part of the course is going to revolve around the security, how I can provide security and create roles. And these roles will be not put directly in SAP BTP, but how I can put it in my SAP UI5 application. So I will be putting roles in SAP UI5 application through development, and these roles will be then created within SAP BTP, and we will provide this role to the user, and then only the user will be able to see our application. So we will talk a little bit about how to provide security and do hands-on related to that. And in the third aspect, we will cover the CI/CD, which is continuous integration and continuous delivery. So this we will use GitLab, or you can use GitHub or Atlassian, any software you can use. Basically, our focus is how we can have a version management system which is attached to our BAS SAP UI5 project. And within this case, we are going to use GitLab, and this is free to set up for your development, and you can see how we will do that within that particular section. And then you will be creating the continuous integration using SAP BTP continuous integration services. CI and CD services. And internally, this CI CD services use Jenkins, but we will be using the SAP BTP out of the box CI CD service to integrate this CI CD services with our Git. And we will give you an idea how in the real project the CI and CD is set up, which will have automatic deployment capability. Once you push the branch, once you push your code to Git, or in this case GitLab, automatically webhooks will push your code using this CI/CD pipeline to your BTP. There will be multiple builds required, which will be automatically handled. So these three things are going to be covered within this course, and our objective within this course is to explore how one can work around this SAP Build Work Zone in SAP BTP and also work with SAP BAS. So let's get started. Welcome back. Now within this section, we will first log into SAP BTP, then we will start our service of SAP BAS and our Build Work Zone. So if you haven't signed up to SAP BTP, you can create an account. If you don't have an account in your SAP BTP, then you can create an account within SAP BTP and you can use the trial. Now we'll go to my trial home. Once I go to the trial home, then within the trial account, what you will get is you get a global account, which will be having sub account with the name trial. And within this sub account trial, you will have a space called dev. So that is by default present. So this is the hierarchy what we have. So this is still the trial sub account. To see the space, you have to navigate within the left side inside the Cloud Foundry tab to spaces. And once you click the spaces, then you see all the spaces which are part of this sub account. Now we will not be going much into explanation of what is present in SAP BTP. If you want to learn more, then I will highly recommend UI5C and SAP BTP Basic, Intermediate and Advanced course or SAP BTP bundle. So you can go through that and learn about SAP BTP a lot. Now, what our objective is, this is the sub account. So within this sub account, I will not go inside the space. I will create the instance in the sub account. So currently, if you see, we don't have any instance or services. Within the instances and subscriptions, you will see all the instance of the subscription you have started. So what I will do is I will go to the service marketplace and I will select those services which I want to create instance of. So I can search BAS, and the name BAS is not actually the name of the service, SAP Business Application Studios. So once I see this service, then I can click on this three dots and I say create service, and just the create option is there. And here there are only one trial plan which I will be using and create. So it's going to take few seconds, and I can also view subscription. It will take some time to set those subscription for you. So within your instance and subscription, you can see it is still in the processing status. We will wait for a few seconds and you can see that the status is changed to subscribed. And I will open this SAP Business Application Studio in the new tab by clicking Control and click or Command and click in the MacBook. And here in the new tab, you see that particular service created. Now within the BAS itself, we have to create a development space. Now this development space is not same as the spaces in the cloud account or here inside the Cloud Foundry. The Cloud Foundry space and the BAS space are different. The BAS space is mostly a instance of BAS. So that instance is called as a space, and I will call this as sample dev. And then it will ask us what kind of development we are interested in. So it will set up those tools within the SAP BAS. So I will select SAP Fiori. Now you can change this as well in the later stages as well. Now you can also change this application creation type, which the BAS utilize at the later stages as well. But for now, I'm just going to create this sample dev and say create dev space. So it's going to take few seconds to start the BAS instance for us. Now within this time, we are going to also go to the service marketplace and also look for our second service which we are interested in, which is SAP Build Work Zone. So I can say build, and you see here SAP Build Work Zone Standard Edition. So you can also see here a small description: simplified access to application by establishing a central entry point. So I'm going to click on that and I'm going to create an instance of that. Now within this plan, you have two things. One is the standard subscription, the second is standard instance. So I'm going to select the standard subscription and create. And I can see that in the instance and subscription tabs as well. So currently we have two applications inside the subscriptions. The first is the SAP Business Application Studio. The second is SAP Build Work Zone Standard Edition. So the build is still in the processing mode and it's going to take few seconds to completely ready for use. Now we'll switch tab to our BAS and you can see that it is in running state now. So I can open this simple dev by just clicking it and it will open a new tab. And it takes few seconds to set the BAS for us. So we can wait till the time, and what we can do is we can go to the instances where our instance was setting up for us, and you can see that the SAP Build Work Zone Standard Edition is subscribed state. So that means we can go inside this service. So it will be also in the running state. So what you can see here is it's saying access denied. And here also you see there is a authorization error. So what we'll do is we will go to users and we'll try to give the required permission to our user account. So this is my user, which is my SAP BTP user from which I have logged in and created the trial account. Now, what I will do here is I will assign role collection. And what are the role collection which I will be assigning? So, and we are going to search for LaunchPad. And we're going to select this LaunchPad admin, and currently only the admin role of the LaunchPad we have added into our user. And what we are going to do is we are going to log out and log in again. So whenever you have provided a new role, it is required to log out and log in again for that particular role to actually get activated. So I can sign in again, and this time I'm going to use the SAP BTP credentials from which I have created the trial account to log in. And I logged in. So I will switch to the instance and subscription tab, in which I can find the SAP Build Work Zone Standard Edition, and here I'm going to just open that again. And what you see here is we have a different thing which is loading. Instead of error, we are seeing the site manager or the site directory. So this is where we will be creating a site. Let's create a site, and I will say Fiori sample site. So this is going to be our site, and currently we will not change any default settings. We will keep everything as it is, and this will create a sample site, and we can use this go to site icon, the first icon, to open the site. Currently we don't have any application, so it will be a blank Fiori sample site. You can see there is nothing there. What we have is a home option, and there's a search bar, and then there is an option to find the settings and log out and theme manager. So this is the blank site what we have. And there are a couple of other options like site directory, content directory, channel manager, and setting. So more about this thing we will see in the next section. But the first thing which we will do is try to understand in a theoretical point of view how to work with your site manager. Let's go back to understanding a bit of theory before we come and do our hands-on here. So what we have currently is SAP Business Application Studio service and SAP Build Work Zone service instantiated within our trial sub-account, and also within SAP Business Application Studio, we have created a sample dev instance where we can create SAP Fiori application. So this is the blank instance. Hello and welcome to understanding a bit of theory about SAP Build Work Zone. Now, we have created the instance of the service of SAP Build Work Zone, but first we need to understand how to navigate the options which are present within the SAP Build Work Zone. So currently within SAP BTP, if we are using BAS and we are deploying application to SAP BTP, then this application will be present within the HTML content of the SAP BTP. So whenever we deploy the application through BAS or other development environment to SAP BTP, then within the HTML content, you will see this SAP UI5 application. Now, within our SAP Build Zone service, we have something called Content Explorer, which can help us to update the repository of HTML application, which our SAP BTP site can utilize. So whenever you update the application as well, or you push a new application, then you have to go to the Content Explorer and tell the Content Explorer to update as per the new changes of the application in the SAP BTP, and the Content Explorer can keep itself updated and will know about if there are any new HTML application or changes to an HTML application within the SAP BTP environment. So this is the first thing which you have to do. You have to use the Content Explorer to access the SAP BTP application. Then this SAP BTP application or your Fiori application will be assigned to a group. So a group is what you will see within your SAP BTP site. So groups will appear as a different tab inside your sites, and these groups will be containing your application. So your application should be assigned to a group, and this group will be what you will see in your BTP site. And to see the application as a user, so if you are a user and you want to see the application, then you should also be having certain roles of that particular application. So for example, you will see a everyone role. So this is one of the roles you will find in your SAP Build Work Zone. So we will see also what this everyone role is. And also when you connect to your S4HANA systems, which are on-premise system, then the roles can be imported from the S4HANA system to your SAP Build Work Zone. So these roles are something which the users should be having, so they will be able to see the application when they access the SAP BTP site. Now, for example, if I have the role 1, and to access the application, you have to have the role 1, then this role 1 need to be assigned to the user. Then only the user will be able to see the app. So this is going to be an overall picture. So first we are going to get the application from the Content Explorer, which is deployed to SAP BTP. Then I can go and create a group and add the application to this particular group. And then the group will be what will be visible to me within my SAP BTP site or this Fiori LaunchPad in BTP. And to see the application within this site, I need to also have the role associated with the application. So if there are no roles associated with the application, then the application should be having a everyone role, which means that everyone can see the application. So these are some of the theoretical background which one need to know before we access or work with SAP Build Zone. Now the SAP Build Zone can work with your on-premise system or on-premise S4HANA system and pull your SAP Fiori application and also roles associated with SAP Fiori application using the destination service of your BTP. But within the scope of the course, we are going to focus only on the cloud scenario where we are going to use SAP BAS and deploy the application to your BTP environment. And from there, we are going to put this application into the SAP BTP site. Okay, so let's see a very basic example of how we can use all this and try to put an empty application in SAP BTP site and view that. So let's try to create a hello world example. Hello and welcome back. currently we are in our SAP BAS, and what we want to do is we want to create a new project from template, and this is going to be a basic hello world project. Okay, so once you select project from template, we select SAP Fiori application, and I'm going to select what kind of application I need, and we'll select a basic, which is just going to contain a simple button which says hello world. Next is to select data source and service selection. Currently we don't have any service which we want to integrate within this application, so we will say none, and navigate to the next section. After that, we will have to select the view name which will be created. So the view 1 will be created. By default, this is the name, and we will keep it as it is. Then we have to select the project attributes. So the first is the name, module name. So I'm going to say simple application, simple app 1. Keep everything as it is. Here the module name should not have a capital, so remove that. So here within the application namespace, we can say SAP.BTP. So this is an optional field, and it will basically categorize all your application into SAP.BTP namespace. Now we will keep everything by default what it is, like the application title or the description. The only thing which will change here is the option of yes, add deployment configuration and add FLP configuration. These both we will say yes, and we will go to the next step. And here our environment is going to be the Cloud Foundry environment. We'll not be going to deploy to on-premise system, but to the Cloud Foundry. So we'll say to which environment we want to deploy, which is the Cloud Foundry. And currently there is no destination which we will be connecting to, so we will say none to the destination or keep it as default. And to the option of add application to manage application router, we will say yes. Now the next screen is going to be the Fiori LaunchPad configuration. Now this is the configuration which you will see, or this is going to be what your tile of your SAP site will look like, or here the Fiori LaunchPad will have. So this is going to be the section which will go into the tile which the application will represent. So I'm going to say the semantic object as simple hello, and action to show the tile, and the title here which will actually appear is simple app 1. And the subtitle is optional, so currently will not provide anything, and say finish. So it's going to take few seconds and open the project with all the setting. Now I can navigate the BAS from this left side menu options which are provided here. And if you want to learn BAS in details, then we do have SAP BAS course provided in UI5CN. Now what we get is a warning, and we'll still be ignoring the warning and open the application within our SAP BAS. So what you see here is a structure of application which can be deployed into your SAP BTP environment. Now more about the basic understanding of this particular project we will see in the next section. First we will start with the theory and then the practical. Now within this section we just want to deploy a very basic application. Now this basically will be a Node.js application, and currently our scope is to open this web app where your SAP UI5 application artifact will be sitting. And I'm going to go into this view and open this view, and I will open this with a layout editor which will help us to select HTML components and drag it to the application view. So there are two kind of editors. One is the simple code editor and the other is the layout editor. I have opened the layout editor here in BAS. So the only thing which I'm going to add is a basic button. So I'm just going to search here button. So here we already have button. So I'm just going to drag it to the page, and this is going to say hello world. So the simple button we have, and press Ctrl S or Command S. So that's the only thing which I'm going to do in the text part. And I can also preview this application. So I can just right click this application web app and say preview application. And from a lot of preview options, I'm going to just select this start no FLP Fiori run open index.html, where view cache equal to false. So this option I will select. So this will help me to preview the application in the local environment before I actually put it into the BTP and see if everything is working. So more about that, how the preview works and all, we will cover in the next section, where we are going to work in details those preview options as well. Now what I can see is a hello world. This button is there. It doesn't do anything, but a very basic app is there, which is the hello world app. Now the time is to stop this service, and what I can do is I can press Ctrl C to stop this service in the terminal in the below section in the bottom part of my BAS. So after pressing Ctrl C, the service stops, and if you go to the preview and refresh it, then you are not going to get anything. So the preview is actually stopped. Okay, now the option is to build and deploy the application. So I will select this mta.yaml file and I will go and build MTA project. So this is the option which is selected, and it's going to build the entire project and create a folder within your project. So you see a empty archive where there's a mtar file present. Okay, so once the build is done, then I'm going to just deploy MT. Okay, so once the build is done, then I'm going to just deploy MT archive. So in the BAS, we have to also log in to Cloud Foundry before we do any build. So this is what is currently asked to log in. So I will log in with my credentials. So I will go take my email and but this is my email and password which I use to log in my BTP trial. So I will then provide my password and sign in. So it seems that I entered the wrong password. Let me try again. And second time I provided the correct password. Okay, now it is asking me to select the org and the space. So currently there is only single org of the trial, and this is the ID of that, which is EBE1121 F trial, and this is the dev space, the default space present. So I will say select that, and what's going to happen now is it will take this mtar file and it will push to the Cloud Foundry. So what we'll see if I go to the Cloud Foundry in my dev space, so I have to navigate to spaces, and inside the dev space the application will be put if everything is correct. So here in the instance I will be seeing 3 services. So there are created. So one is the XSUA, HTML5 application, and the destination service. So these 3 things are created. Now I can also see these things if I navigate to the trial, and within this trial, if I navigate to this HTML5 application option, then I will be also seeing my HTML5 application. So it will take some time to refresh and see the content. And here you see SAP BTP Simple App 1, and if I click it, then I will see the basic Hello World application. So it is asking me to log in again, and I'm going to use the SAP BTP login credential to log in. And after logging in, it's taking some time to load the application, and if everything is correct, and you see a simple Hello World button here. Hello World. Okay, so this application is currently present in SAP BTP, and I can navigate from the HTML application, and also inside the space I have seen that. Now, is it currently present in my work zone? So if I try to refresh the work zone, and it has somewhat it is inactive, so it has logged me out. So if I refresh and I'm back to the work zone and I click on this menu, top left menu, then I can see the name channel manager, content manager. And within the content manager, what I can see is only a single role, which is with the name everyone. And in the site directory, I will see the site, which is the Fiori sample site, which we have created. So what I will do is I will go to this channel manager, and within this channel manager, you can see here the content channels are there, and here I will refresh. So as soon as I refresh this, then I will be able to have access to the newly deployed HTML application as well. So it's updated. Now what I will do is I will go back to the content manager, and from here I will go to Content Explorer, and from here HTML5 apps, and this is the app which we have just pushed, sap.btp.simple app1, and I'm going to add this. So as soon as I add this, then if I navigate to my content manager, or just using this breadcrumb, if I go to the content manager, then I can see there is this app title. Now the next step is to create the group. So I will create a simple group. So this is the name of the group, and I will say simple group 1. And what I can do is I can also attach this application by saying the assignment status as, and once I change the assignment status using the switch, then this group is going to have this application. And if I go to the content manager back, then I will also see this simple group 1. And if I navigate inside, then I have the application. So these are two things which we have done now. We have gone to the channel manager, we have updated it, and then we added the application from the Content Explorer, and the same application we have added to a group which we have created. Now there is one more thing which we have to do to see the application, which is to assign a role. So currently the application will not be visible to you unless you have the everyone role assigned to it. So within the everyone role, I navigated and I say edit, and here I'm going to assign this application to this everyone role and save it. So now the application is associated with this everyone role, and the everyone role is actually assigned to all the user in SAP BTP account. So you can see in the translation here, in the description section, content assigned to this role is visible to all user. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll go to the site directory, and then we'll open the site which we have just created, and hopefully we'll see the group, and the group is simple group 1, and then the simple app 1 is also there. And if I navigate to the application, and if everything is correct, then I will see my hello world button. So this is my hello world button. I hope that this simple exercise is clear, where we created a hello world application in SAP BAS. We added a simple button saying hello world, then we built the application, we deployed this application to SAP BTP, and within the HTML application we see that we have the SAP UF application present in our org. Then we went to the site which is the SAP Fiori LaunchPad in BTP. Then we went to the channel manager and we updated the channel manager. Then we refreshed the HTML app section of the content channels, and then we went to the content manager. We added the application which is the app title via Content Explorer. We created the group, and to the group we added the application, and then we added the application to the everyone role also. So what will happen if I just remove the application from the everyone role? If I just remove the role from this application and try to refresh, then what will happen? Will I see anything? I don't see anything. I don't see any application in my Fiori site. So you have to have a role associated with the application to be able to see that. So which is here in this case everyone role. So if I again add the everyone role to the application and refresh, then I see my application. Okay, so this is the basic application setup.